he used to blag my head all the time saying Pink Floyd is a name for a whale's penis.
I remember picking the CD up and looking at the back of it and going, feeling a bit short-changed because it only had 5 songs on it. Yeah.
And just as I pulled into the parking space, Roger Waters just goes, Daddy!
So this is episode 1 of the first time I ever heard. We're going to talk about bands in this one and all the weird associated stories we've got with some of our favourite music. I'm going to kick things off with the first ever prog band that I think I ever listened to, and that was the wonderful Pink Floyd.
The Pink Floyd.
Yeah, the Pink Floyd sound, if you want to be, if we're going right back to appease all the fans from 67.
That's it, well I can't battle your knowledge, so.
They were famously, other names for Pink Floyd, the T-Set, Sigma 6,
yes.
The Megadeths, they were also called at one point before they settled on Pink Floyd.
And my mate Izzy, who was a plasterer, he used to blag my head all the time saying Pink Floyd is a name for a whale's penis.
Really?
And he kept saying it like it's like a nickname.
Yeah.
And it's not. He just wanted me to search it on my phone. But I can imagine it. I just started imagining it possibly being
a
Pink
could
Floyd.
Have been real. Yeah. It sounds like
a bit phallic.
You can imagine a sailor saying it as well, can't you? An old Pink Floyd.
Yeah, watch out for the Pink Floyd over there.
Yeah. So where did you first hear the name Pink Floyd, do you think?
So I distinctly remember the very first, before a big gap, was when we were kids. Dad had The Wall.
Yeah.
And The Wall is what I remember specifically. And they played as the We Don't Need No Education.
Yeah.
And it was you can't have any pudding if you don't eat your meat.
Right.
And that was the bit that I sort of made me laugh as a kid. Like, how can they put something so silly like that in the song?
Yeah.
That was the very, very, very first time. I'll have been 5.
Yeah. Our first time I consciously heard of Pink Floyd. I'm 15 years old. I remember being 15 years old and saw classic albums, Dark Side of the Moon. But without having ever heard the music, I saw that documentary just because it was on the TV. I didn't know anything about the Floyd, didn't know any of the tracks, but there was something about the music in that programme when they played snippets of it that I thought, this is interesting.
Yeah.
It got me going a little bit. I thought, there's something here.
Well, I think before I was even a fan or whatever, I think I had the knowledge, a bit like the Beatles and Elvis, that they were just the best anyway. So I knew they existed subconsciously, but I'd not really heard them.
Yeah, they're one of those bands when you're a kid, you've been like, you say about your own music and how good it is, and they're just like some random old guys like, search Pink Floyd, that's real music, they talk about real issues. They're one of those bands, aren't they? Like Led Zeppelin as well. You like when you're some old biker guys at the pub when you're like talking about music and like, Pink Floyd, saw him back in 77 at Kilburn and all this stuff, and you just think, who's these?
Sean, Earl's Court, go away, Sean.
Yeah.
Even Ryan saw him there, he got to see the second wall.
Right.
When I was probably early teenager.
When Rog did it on his own.
Will have been Rog,
Yeah.
The problem I had, obviously, being a teenager with a computer and LimeWire. I started downloading a few other Pink Floyd tracks. There was probably 4 that I liked, and they were just all the standard famous. Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. And so on. And I started working in a bed factory. And I downloaded the discographies just to listen to individual bits. And because it was so monotonous, I thought, you know what, I'm actually going to put it on. And I didn't listen to albums from start to finish until I was 17.
Okay.
Which is a very odd thing for me.
Yeah.
Because it was Pink Floyd that gave me the understanding of this is an experience.
It's an album.
It's a trip. So I was stapling away in this bed factory, and I had The Wall on because it was the most familiar. And then straight away, is this about me? Somehow have they written this about me? And I related it to it so quickly. And just imagine me sending this story. And while I was sort of fiddling away at work, I could actually see the story in my head. I did know the film at that point. That was, but you're not listening through the album if you're watching the film. No, of course
not. It's such a disturbing film that you're so taken with the visuals anyway. It's hard to even think about the music really. It's just there accompanying the horrors of the visuals in the film.
Even in the basics, never mind the standard of it being a war and his dad died and all these things that happened to Roger. It is just the basic of, this man had a girlfriend, they've fallen out, they felt infidelitized. And then it just killed one of them. It's just that, but that's a really simple of the whole story,
So the first time, so I did that documentary, and then I thought, I need to check out this Pink Floyd lot. Again, like, streaming didn't really exist or anything. I wanted to actually own the music, I didn't just want to listen to it on YouTube. So I said to my dad, I found this like Pink Floyd best of CD, and I was like, are these some good Pink Floyd tracks? And my dad said, these Pink Floyd are one of the only bands where you need to do the albums, you can't do the best of. So I'm like, really? Why?
What
and
was the best of? Was it songs to dance to?
No, it was just called Echoes.
Right.
2-disc one. But again, it just had Comfortably Numb, One of These Days, Money, Us and Them. But of course, out of sequence, that was the thing. Start with Comfortably Numb, then go back to Money and all that other stuff. But so I bought the CDs of Dark Side and Wish You Were Here because I want two. Wish You Were Here just happened to arrive first. I remember picking the CD up and looking at the back of it and feeling a bit short-changed because it only had 5 songs on it. And I was like, bloody hell, I've just shelled out a £5. Yeah, I've just shelled out a £5. I've just shelled out a £5 for this CD and it's only got 5 songs. It's going to be over in 10 minutes. And then I put it on. And I think, the rest is history. Like, nothing happened for the first 5 minutes. It was just a note, and I was just like, what's this? And then it kept going on, and I was thinking, is there any, and then the vocals finally kicked in, and I was like, we've arrived. And it's one of the few memories I have in my life where it's as clear to me now as it was on that day when I first listened to it. Like, it's really
very vivid,
with
isn't
me.
It?
Yeah.
All the memories it's taken me straight back. I can remember the smell of the Bed Factory, but I think as a kid as well, growing up, I was massively into Chumbawamba. Yeah. And Chumbawamba for some, they used a lot of sound bites, and I think when I was younger, the Pink Floyd, all the sound bites is what drew me in. Some of the very silly or jokey little aspects in the middle of such serious music. And but I did find the problem was that's when it hit me at work. And obviously the irony of you're going to work all your life and die basically. Pink Floyd's philosophy. It felt very ironic, and it did sort of drive me. But this was the first time something affected and changed how I thought. At 17 as well, and then when we started hanging out with some people who were into filing paperwork, if some of you know what that means, and we had the opposite to heartburn, so we all had some acid to even it out, and we were listening to Pink Floyd on a totally another level which I'd never heard before. I was sat at a party, and the first bit of the wall come on, and red triangles were flying out the speaker, boom, in the flesh, and it just because he didn't really figure out how loud it were going to be, and then we'd set the speakers up in a circle, and we had Learning to Fly on, and this is when I'd started going into the more, because when you're in these sort of parties, the softer David Gilmour ones seem to hit harder. And Learning to Fly, I remember I had some bloody experiences listening to that with my eyes shut.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's just brilliant. I mean, the Wall tricks you because it starts with that bit of brass. It starts with that brass band for the first.
That's what I'm saying. So it turned up really loud.
So it's like, oh, this is really quiet.
And triangles went. It was insane. I don't know why triangles.
Have you read the story about the first time the Wall was ever played back as an album to all the record executives?
No.
That exact same. I can't remember what record. I think it was EMI. They had a listening party for the Wall. Literally the day the master was done, they set the tape up in this room and everything. And the same thing happened. And at that time, you think the Wall is one of the few albums from the late 70s where it still sounds fantastic to this day. The drums are so clean. And of course, hi-fis were pretty crap back in the back end of the 70s. So as soon as that playing comes in at the end of In the Flesh, these speakers just exploded on the first time. And all these record executives were like, "Whoa, what is this? What is this?"
And when I drive, I have my music terribly loud. That is one of the tracks where I'm sat at the traffic light or someone there, and it's so loud, and I love it. It's encapsulated, and people are outside looking into the sky. It's such a distinctive sound.
Just like the start of Goodbye Blue Sky, the album. Again, there's an airplane up in the sky. Yes, there is.
I remember listening to it with a girl once. She goes, "I bet that were you when you were a kid." Again, it put me in there. But enough about the Wall.
Got to discuss other Pink Floyd.
Well, that's it. As time went on, and these tracks again, I do this thing where I find the one that I like and listen to it over and over again. And Animals, Dogs is perfect because it does sort of start straight away, and it goes boom when it kicks in. So when it's at parties, people don't sort of realise how long it is. And every time people wanted to change your music at parties, well, Pat, you just have one more song. I'd always put Dogs on at 17 minutes and 4 seconds. Because this ain't the same song, it's changed. And then the riff comes back in. Same song. That was always good.
Oh, it's so good. And again, you've got to talk about the dogs in the track and all the things at parties when the dogs come on in Dogs.
Oh, in fact, yeah. So we lived in this.
That.
I lived in this flat with a girl, and it was sort of quite a big area, like a ski lodge thing. So it was a big area, bloody place to live.
Yeah.
And I'd put animals on, and her parents would come round for tea. And Mum would love mine, and she'd fall over a lot.
Yeah.
And dogs were on in background, and the dog started barking.
Yeah.
And she would tell him, like, "What's that?" I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Dogs are over there. What's going on?"
Yeah.
It's just the song. No, and she actually no, it's not.
Yeah. She was so convinced.
Same with helicopter as well. I remember watching the party and the helicopter came on at the beginning, and our mate went to look out a window. They're here for us.
Yeah. Roger's coming to get you. Roger Waters is coming to get you.
Roger, Mima Todger.
Other essential Pink Floyd albums. One of my personal favourites, actually. I've been enjoying a lot of Relics recently.
Gosh, that's pushing the boat there.
Yeah. You know, the classic, the very first compilation one, Arnold Lane, all those ones are on it.
This is going to need another episode.
No, we've still got plenty of time to talk about the Floyd, as the old men affectionately call it.
I think one sort of like what I'd gained from the Floyd was these experiences that they talked about, and you sort of, like I said, put myself in. I think they actually sort of hardened me to certain situations in life. Do you know what I mean? And steeled me, and it's such an emotional connection that I only share with such few bands. Some people understand and some don't. It's like Rush now. I've started to get a really personal connection with Rush. They're a bit like telling you it's going to be okay.
Pink Floyd's very much telling you it's not going to be.
It's not going to be all right, but fuck it, you'll be right.
Apart from Learning to Fly, that was the one time in Pink Floyd where it was all going to be fine and dandy and roses, wasn't it? That was the one. That's the one nice Pink Floyd song.
I remember for years and years, I always thought I said Wandering. Right?
Yeah. Least favourite Floyd album. Because they do have a lot of bad albums as well. That period, the pre and post Barrett period, where it's Saucer Full of Secrets up to the 2 film soundtracks, that sort of post Sid Barrett but pre Medal. Some of them just are not right. They were trying to find the feet.
That's the thing, but that's the thing. I can't really judge those because, like, you know, there is this fine line. Obviously, there's the old Pink Floyd and the new. And then the new again when it would just Gilmore. I think Division Bell. I do like every track and I get along with it, but it's just a bit weak. And it's the sort of thing like I won't put it on all the time to other people. But if I'm in a certain headspace in a certain way, I want to listen to it. But I just felt some of the songs were a bit shoehorned. I'm trying to think of.
Well, it's like, what do you want from me? It's just a bit cliche, isn't it? Like, it's just one of those cliche
you don't
being
like
famous.
Whatever it's called.
What?
The second track.
That's that one. What do you want from me?
Oh, that's Momentary Lapse.
That's Dogs of War. Not a fan of that one. It just goes on a bit, doesn't it? Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, that's me trying very hard to say I don't like it. I'll turn this one off.
Got an easy one that I don't like.
Go on.
Final Cut. Not a Final Cut enjoyer.
In fact, that's why I forgot about it.
Yeah, you've got to mention it now. I can see it in your eyes. You wanted to say it now.
Wow.
About our old mate Daryl. It was his favourite Pink Floyd album. He was a massive music lover, and when we asked him this, we were expecting him to say like, "Oh, The Wall, The Division Bell, Dark Side, Wish You Were Here," and he just goes, "No, The Final Cut." We're like, you what, mate? The Final Cut? And he just loved it. It was his. And I'm like, okay, mate. You know, it was such a controversial opinion that we couldn't hate him for it. Do you know?
No.
Like he was so adamant that he was right that we respected it, didn't we?
People have accused me for not liking stuff. Like on purpose. But and some people are like, oh no, I like the crap albums. But with Final Cut, I remember when I was trying it in the car. I pulled up at the big Asda in Morley. And just as I pulled into the parking space, Roger Waters just goes, "Daddy!" It's perfectly timed.
That's the start of the video. Right there. Daddy. Just been like Roger Waters just go, "Daddy."
I like that bit. "Hey, Daddy." It's the Daddy Longlegs.
There's some proper good Pink Floyd memes as well. I think out of all those bands, Pink Floyd have got the best shitposting community. You like Pink Floyd, especially younger Pink Floyd fans like our age are down for a laugh. Like, there's that really funny one where it's just a pic of Roger looking angry, and it's the caption is like, "Rick Wright, you incompetent imbecile. Where's your keyboard parts for Daddy's Dead Part 7?" And just stuff like that just proper tickles me.
Well, I find like with most famous bands from their era, just like the Who and the Kinks and all that, all of them had a great face. And I just think people of that time, they had great big bolsty faces, like Roger Waters, it's one hell of a face. Your man from the Kinks, good lord. But they just They just had they looked like 60s British people. I don't know.
They look like the characters in that big book of British Smiles from The Simpsons, which I'll put a picture of now.
And so many Simpsons Pink Floyd crossovers, it's unbelievable.
Well, unbelievably, we've talked about the Floyd for nearly 20 minutes there.
Really?
Yeah.
And we talked about so little.
Yeah, that's the story of Pink Floyd. So much in life, so little time, etc. That's the story of the Floyd.
Every documentary you watch, you see the same information.
Yeah.
You'll have never heard it like that before.
No, this is just two people who love Pink Floyd, and we're very passionate about them.
And I always feel sad for when people don't get it. They're missing out.
Thank you for watching the first edition of the first time we ever heard Pink Floyd. It's big, it's pink, it's the Floyd. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Make sure to stream our music. Click the link in the comments. Check out our Spotify. We'll be back next week with another video. Cheers.